What's happening?
Kneel before the candle.
Don't hurt me! I'll betray anyone!
Welcome to the Owls of Minerva.
Hey guys, James here again with another Civ 6 video, and today I want to do a guide on the Secret Societies mode that was introduced as part of the Civ 6 Frontier Pass, specifically the Ethiopia pack. In this mode, you unearth and join one of 4 different secret societies. Each secret society has its own unique membership perks, and with this comes new friends and foes. So, get out your sensors, heat up your brands, and let's dive into this.
How does a robot join this monk outfit?
Just put on this monk outfit.
So of course, before you can sell your soul, you first need to find a buyer. The Owls of Minerva have an 80% chance of being discovered after you send an envoy to a city-state. And since you'll be doing this pretty much all game, you should have a pretty good chance of discovering them.
Eventually!
Discovering a natural wonder gives you a 100% chance to meet the Hermetic Order. Visiting a goodie hut gives you a 70% chance of discovering the Voidsingers. And finally, destroying a barbarian camp gives you a 70% chance of discovering the Sanguine Pact. Unfortunately, there is some luck involved, but at least everything I mentioned before is going to be stuff you normally do anyway. So I think early scouting is particularly key if there is a secret society that you're specifically targeting. Keep in mind, however, that every civ that joins a secret society reduces the percent odds of an invite being sent to you from that society. So again, the earlier you can join, the better. You can think of the secret societies as governors. They can be accessed in the governor screen and use governor titles to be upgraded. Discovering your first secret society will even grant you a governor title that can be used freely. However, unlike governors, societies aren't moved around. Instead, promoting the secret society grants you a bonus to your civ, with later promotions being unlocked at the start of the medieval, industrial, and atomic eras. Choose wisely though. You can only join one secret society, and being part of one org will make members of other societies dislike you. Alright, so now, let's dive into the different secret societies. The Owls of Minerva. So the Owls of Minerva are a secret society that give me real Illuminati vibes. They're the type of society that tries to control the world from the shadows. Their focus is on improving your government, economy, and spies. After discovery, you can upgrade the initiation promotion. This grants your government an extra economic policy slot, which is pretty awesome. In my opinion, economic policies are the best in the game, so you really can't go wrong with that. Additionally, whenever you send a trade route to a city-state, it will grant one envoy there immediately. This can occur multiple times per city-state too, so it should be pretty easy for you to start dominating the diplomacy game and getting those suzerain bonuses. In the medieval era, you unlock the ritual promotion. This grants you access to the Gilded Vault, which replaces the bank. Just a quick FYI, if you ever build the base version of a building that is replaced by a secret society version, once you get the appropriate promotion, your old buildings will automatically get upgraded to the new versions. This means that you can go ahead and build as you want without worrying. The Gilded Vault has the stats of a bank, but it also grants additional culture equal to your commercial hub adjacency bonus. On its own, this is only really alright, since I feel like most commercial hub adjacencies are really only going to be +2 from rivers, but this bonus can actually be ratcheted up with good district placement. Not only that, but this upgrade allows you to have 2 trade routes per city if you build both a commercial hub and harbor district. You don't even need the lighthouse, as it'll grant you with the trade route immediately once the harbor finishes. This can also be especially nice because harbors and commercial hubs grant each other adjacency bonuses, so this upgrade does greatly increase your gold income overall. Then, in the industrial era, you unlock the indoctrination upgrade. This upgrade grants you 1 wildcard policy slot, which is pretty awesome. It also grants 2 extra spy slots, which is super useful, especially since in most cases, you'll only have 2 spies to begin with during the industrial era. And then, you get +4 loyalty per turn and +1 amenity to a city when one of your spies is assigned there. Honestly, this one probably isn't going to matter that much, but I guess I could see it being pretty useful if you are having loyalty issues. Then finally, in the Atomic era, you get the Master Plan. This makes it so that every time an offensive spy mission is successful, you get half the gold, faith, culture, and science that the targeted city generated that turn. This can actually be pretty crazy, especially if you have a bunch of spies going at different civs in their capital cities. It's also just a nice bonus to get on top of what your spies already give you. Master Plan also grants you a 3% interest on your gold per turn, up to a cap of 1,000. Overall, I think the Owls of Minerva are a great secret society and probably the most consistent one as well. They're incredibly reliable to discover, their bonuses can be useful for pretty much any victory type, the extra policy slots are incredible, the improved spies are a nice bonus, and I mean, who doesn't like gold? The Owls of Minerva are just great all around and a safe pick if you don't really know what else to go. The Hermetic Order. The Hermetic Order is a brotherhood that practices alchemy and the occult. Joining the order opens your third eye and allows you to see the ley line resource, which is core to their gameplay.
Yes, I can see it now.
The first upgrade you get is called Neophyte. This reveals the leyline resource on the map. The spawn locations are determined at the start of the game, and they will only spawn on open terrain tiles, so they won't appear on any tiles with features or resources. Unfortunately, there is randomness involved, so there's no guarantee that you'll have any ley lines in or near your empire. Ley lines grant a major adjacency to specialty districts. However, once ley lines appear, you won't actually be able to improve that tile anymore. You can actually settle on ley lines though, and will still be able to receive the bonuses. In the medieval era, you unlock the Adept promotion. This gives you access to the Alchemical Society, which replaces the University. It grants an additional 2 production, which, while not game-changing, is still pretty useful. It also grants you Great Engineer and Great Merchant points. This will become more beneficial later. Adept also grants your campus a gold bonus equal to the Science adjacency. Not bad, but also not necessarily amazing. Then, in the Industrial era, you get the Magus promotion. Magus makes it so that for every great person you earned in the game, leyline resources under your control receive +1 yield equal to that great person's district type. So great merchants give gold, and great writers give culture, and so on. Meanwhile, great admirals and great generals will provide science bonuses. This bonus is applied to great people you earned already, and continues to update as you earn more great people. This finally makes leyline resources useful and workable tiles. If you had settled on any ley lines, you'll also have some pretty insane city centers. Finally, with the Atomic era, you earn Iwas. This promotion grants access to the Occult Research Project to cities with a campus district. The Occult Research Project provides gold while running, equal to 15% of the city's production. When the project is complete, it then provides 500 science for each ley line in the city. It'll also grant around 17% of the production invested in the project in Great Scientist, Engineer, and Merchant points. Overall, I actually kinda like the Hermetic Order, although obviously there is a luck aspect with regards to ley lines. You need to find a natural wonder before you can join them, so while you most likely will meet them eventually, it could be a while depending on your scouting. It also really sucks that you won't know where ley lines are until you join, but sometimes you might need to create your own luck, if you know what I mean. The huge focus on great people is pretty interesting though, and can be a strong combo with certain civs. While I don't think they're the best society, I do think that maybe they're a bit overhated, and I would choose them if I'm going for a science victory.
That is not dead which can eternal life.
The Voidsingers are a cult that follow a dark and ancient god. Faith is core to their gameplay, which is used by them to reap great benefits. Their first promotion is called Melody. Melody allows you to construct the Old God Obelisk, which replaces the normal monument. It grants an additional 4 faith and a great work slot. And what can I really say about this? I'm a fan. The monument is already a must build, and since you'll pretty much only go Voidsingers when you have a religion, the extra faith is really nice. Next we have Chorus. Chorus grants bonus gold, culture, and science per turn equal to 20% of your faith per turn. This one's pretty great and combos really well with pretty much any religion-focused civ. With the Industrial era comes Canticle, which unlocks the Cultist unit. The Cultist is purchased with faith. They have 3 charges which can be used on their active ability, causing adjacent cities to lose 10 loyalty. Despite being purchased with faith, Cultists actually aren't religious units. Instead, they actually take up the space of military units and can actually even be used to body block. However, this does mean that they can be attacked by military units if you're at war, and since they have no combat strength themselves, well, you could do things like this. When they die, either from using their charges or being killed, they'll create a Relic of the Void, which grants 4 faith and 12 tourism. Finally, you have Symphony, which grants the Dark Summoning City project. This project grants 30% of the city's production into faith per turn while active. Then, when it's completed, it increases the amount of loyalty loss from cultists' abilities by 2. Symphony can be run multiple times in multiple cities, and the loyalty loss can go from 10 per charge to a cap of 30 per charge. So for Canticle and Symphony, I have some pretty mixed to negative feelings personally. In a more recent patch, they did make some changes to how loyalty and flipping cities works, and that completely changes how cultists operate. So right now, cultists can actually still bring a city's loyalty down to 0, but unless the city is experiencing negative loyalty pressure to begin with, it's not going to flip. This essentially means that you can really only use the cultist to flip a city that probably would have ended up flipping to you anyway. It'll definitely greatly increase the speed with which the city is flipped, but I feel like it becomes extremely situational now. You need the right circumstances, usually the enemy being in a dark age or something, and then you'll be able to make cultists work. Overall, the Voidsingers are solid, though definitely not as good as they used to be. The Old God Obelisk and Chorus are both great early bonuses that can get you going really quickly. The late game promotions aren't really that good anymore, and unfortunately the loyalty change does kind of destroy the fun of cultists, but still, I think the Voidsingers are solid if you're going heavy on faith. the Sanguine Pact. And finally, we have the Sanguine Pact, a crew of vampires. No, not those kinds. Alright, close enough. Their first promotion is called Taste. This grants a vampire unit in your capital. Vampires are quite an interesting military unit. Their base attack strength is equal to that of the strongest unit your cities have produced, excluding giant death robots. So, they start off like warriors with 20 strength, and their attack power will automatically update as you create stronger units. Vampires also have a bonus 5 combat strength against anti-cavalry units like spearmen. Vampires here are quite interesting and maybe not what you would expect. They gain 1 combat strength when a unit dies in an adjacent tile, including friendly units. They can get up to 10 total bonus points from barbarian units, so you can't just farm barb camps, but there's no cap on the bonus from other units. So, to really take advantage of this, you'll want to move your vampires near any weak units who might be close to dying. If you're diligent with doing this, you can actually create some truly terrifying units. This bonus doesn't actually show on their combat strength, and rather is a modifier that'll appear when you hover over enemy units. Vampires have a reduced healing rate, and so if you want to passively heal them, you want to put them in a city center for sure. To make up for this though, vampires are pillaging machines. They'll heal 50 HP when pillaging anything other than roads, and this is on top of any other pillaging bonuses they receive from that tile. They're also incredibly difficult to kill. I'll explain a little bit more on that later. So next, you get the Rising Hunger promotion. This grants you a second vampire and allows you to construct the Vampire Castle. The Vampire Castle is a really interesting tile improvement that can only be built by vampires. When constructed, it duplicates the yields from all adjacent tiles and adds them to the castle tile. If placed next to a district, it'll gain a yield equal to 1 specialist from that district. This tile can't be worked by the city itself, but rather the yields are added to your capital as worked tiles. This basically helps to make your capital an absolute powerhouse. Also important to note is that castles are a snapshot in time, rather than constantly updating, so if you want, you can replace the tiles and improvements next to a castle while still keeping those yields. The castle also grants +4 fortification strength to units on the tile. You can build castles in neutral territory too, and even get yields from neighboring civs. With this upgrade, your vampires gain build charges. You'll have as many charges as you have vampires, so once you unlock this promotion, your vampires will gain 2 charges each, which can be used to build 2 castles, with more unlocked later. When a castle is built, it reduces the amount of charges for all vampires by 1, so you can only have 1 castle per vampire. If you remove a castle, all vampires will gain 1 charge back. If ever needed, builders can remove castles as well. These charges also allow you to use vampires as pseudo-builders. They'll be able to clear features like chopping trees by using a build charge. Doing this only reduces that specific vampire's charge. You can also remove improvements and perform repair actions for free, which is pretty useful, especially if you have weather effects turned up. Vampire castles are a huge part of why vampires are insanely difficult to kill. Anytime a vampire would have been killed, they instead retreat to the nearest vampire castle with 1 health. If no vampire castles are available, they'll instead go to your capital. So, as you can see here, I keep trying to get rid of this vampire, but he just ends up appearing to the other side like it's a Scooby-Doo chase scene or something. Really, the only way I was able to kill the vampire was by first blocking all the castles, and then killing the vampire at the capital. This makes it insanely hard to both kill and lose vampires. Just be careful that you don't suicide them while they're on your capital. Okay, so in the industrial era, you unlock the Voivode promotion. This grants you a 3rd vampire. This also grants a passive to your vampire units which intimidates nearby units, reducing combat strength by 5. This is pretty solid, especially since your vampires are going to want to be near the front lines at all times. Voivode also makes it so that vampires only need to use 1 movement point to perform a pillage action. This means with proper positioning, you can pillage and retreat, or pillage twice in a turn. Finally, with the Atomic Era, you unlock Endless Night. This grants you your 4th and final vampire, and also allows you to airlift units between your vampire castles. You can do this with all land units, including religious, civilian, and military units. I tried to test it out with naval units, but I don't think it seems to work. The unit only needs to be adjacent to the vampire castle to be airlifted, so with proper castle placement, you can very easily ferry 7 units at a time, maybe even more. This can make your army incredibly mobile. Overall, I think the Sanguine Pact is a ton of fun. Obviously, they are best for domination victories. With proper unit movement and management, you can create vampires that are as strong, if not stronger, than even the giant death robot. This will take some active management though, and so the Sanguine Pact is a lot more involved than other societies. I'm also just a fan of vampire castles, and I think they have a lot of interesting uses, whether you use them to create a powerhouse capital, or if you use them as a way to move large amounts of units very quickly. They aren't necessarily a society I would choose every time, mainly because of how active they are, but there's no doubt that they can be a ton of fun. And that's everything I had this time. If you enjoyed, please do consider clicking some of those buttons, and let me know down below if I might have missed anything, or if you know any other interesting interactions. And As usual, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Peace.